Good afternoon, America. Today is Tuesday, April the 10th, and it is 1:13 p.m. I'm going to start with a little SS sound sayings. It's coming from James 5:16. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. That applies to a righteous woman as well. The second comes from Revelations 2, verse 17. And it says, To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna. To him who overcometh will I give to eat of the hidden manna. Okay, to him that overcometh. Okay, that's the key word there. Those are some wise sayings for today. I'm going to return this to the box. We're going to continue with Deuteronomy 4. As you know that there are there are 49 verses to this chapter, and we stopped at 24, which was purple for the Trinity. And it said, For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, even a jealous God. He is a consuming fire, even a very jealous God. Okay, so we are not to be playing with him as we do. We have from 25 to 49 to finish today. 25 to 28 is all brown for Satan. Let's continue. When thou shalt beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves and make a graven image or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God to provoke him to anger. Let's do verse by verse. 25. We'll do 24 first. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. 25. After you have had children and grandchildren, and have lived in the land a long time, if you then become corrupt and make any kind of idol, doing evil in the eyes of the Lord your God, and provoking him to anger. After a while, we've been on this land for a very long time. From the time of Adam to this present time is a very long time. And in that time, the world has changed, and idolatry is the name of the game today. Okay, so we are terribly corrupted from the high to the low. The high is those that make rules and regulations and laws and implement them. Those are the high. And those laws that they implement always go against the commandments of God. Always go against the commandments of God. Okay, so we have definitely done what it says in this verse here, 25, and I will read it again from my Bible. Excuse me, my eyes are better now. Thank you. When thou shalt beget children and children's children, and ye shall have remained long in the land, and shall corrupt yourself to make a graven image or the likeness of any kind, and shall do evil in the sight of the Lord thy God to provoke him to anger. Verse 26, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish from off the land whereunto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. Let's take 26 from here. I called heaven and earth as witness against you this day, that you will quickly perish from the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess. You will not live there long, but will certainly be destroyed. And literally, many are being destroyed. Literally. Young. They don't even live to be old anymore. When you look outside your door and you see all your elders, those are the people who show you the glory of God. Because only God can give you long days on earth. Only God, not your doctor, not your pastor, but God solely himself can bring you into the elder years of your life. So when I see an elder outside and they're able to go about their business, live by themselves, sometimes you see them holding hands, Lord God. That is the glory of God. Period. Okay? 27. And the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. 27 from here. The Lord will scatter you among the people, and only a few of you will survive among the nations to which the Lord will drive you. Only a few will survive upon that day. Only a few. Okay? And God is so mighty that he can take that few and repopulate his earth. All right? He can take his elders and open up their wombs to repopulate this earth as he did with Sarah. 27. 28. And there ye shall serve gods. This is a lowercase gods. The work of man's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear, nor eat nor smell. So all those gods that they bow down to Asia, though they may have nostrils, they cannot smell. Though they may have eyes, they cannot see. Though they may have a mouthpiece, it cannot open and utter a word unto thee. That is a fake God. The true God of this universe has eyes because he has made the eyes. He also has a mouthpiece. He made the mouth. He has a nose. He made that as well. So he can see, he can smell, and he certainly can speak. 29 and 30 is read for discipleship. It says, but if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, thou shalt find him, if thou seek him with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Let's go straight to 30, still read. When thou art in tribulation, and all these things are come upon thee, even in the later days, which is these days now, if thou turn to the Lord thy God, and shall be obedient unto his voice, even in the later days, which are these days now we speak of. Let's go from 29 to 30. But if from here you seek the Lord your God, you will find him, if you look for him with all your heart and with all your soul. 30. When you are in distress and all these things have happened to you, then in later days you will return to the Lord your God and obey him. No problem with that. 30 is purple for the Trinity. For the Lord thy God is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant thy fathers, which he swore unto him. Let's go to 31. For the Lord your God is a merciful God. He will not abandon or destroy you or forget the covenant with your forefathers, which he confirmed to them by oath. Now this is only if you seek him and tribulations come against thee, and you seek him with all your heart, soul, and mind, you will find him. And what will he do? He will not forget thee or forsake thee. You can't say the same thing about man. Which love for you is conditional. Conditional does not apply when it comes to God. Obedience applies. If you are obedient to his word, then your tribulations will be his tribulations. Your problems become his problems. But if you ignore him and pretend that he doesn't exist, your tribulations will destroy thee. Okay? 32 to 36 is pink for witnessing. For ask now of the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day of that God created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there has been any such thing as this great thing is, or has been heard like it. Let's do verse by verse. 32. The Lord is God. Yes, he is. Ask now about the former days, long before your time, from the day God created man on the earth. Ask from one end of the heavens to the other. Has anything so great as this ever happened? Or has anything like it ever been heard? No. Not one of those faith God can take credit for anything that you see outside. Anything. Not the making of the earth. Not for every nation that lives. Not for every creature that has been created. Nothing. Only God himself, the God of Israel, can take credit for that. He can take credit for creating the lion, the leopard, every cat in the field. He can take credit for that. But God did not make a ligress. That is the hand dealt by man. Always meddling, twisting, combining, joining that which should not be joined together. Okay. 33. Did every people heard the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire? Did every people heard the voice of God speaking out of the midst of the fire? So thou hast heard and lived. 34. Or has God essayed to go and take him a nation from the midst of another nation by temptation, by signs, and by wonders, by war, and by a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm, and by great terrors, according to all that the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? We have not seen all these things. But surely as I look upon this screen and you can see me, I know for sure that all these things that have been spoken and written of in this book here have certainly happened. It is not like that movie that you love to watch so much made by man. All of that is fake. The only time it has any value to it if it's made based on a true life story. That's the only time it has any value to it. Okay? So let's read 34 from here. Has any God ever tried to take for himself one nation out of another nation by testing, by miracles, signs, and wonders, by war, by a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, or by great and awesome deeds, like all the things the Lord your God did for you in Egypt before your very eyes? Absolutely not. Like I said, there's not a lowercase gods that can take credit for anything that the Lord has created. Anything. Okay, 35. Unto thee it was shown that thou mightest know that the Lord, he is God. There is none else besides him. Ooh, yes. Unto thee it was shown that thou mightest know that the Lord, he is God. There is none else besides him. None. Right? Let's read 35 from here. You were shown these things so that you might know that the Lord is God. Besides him, there is no other. There is no other America. If it has been made by the hands of man, it is fake. It is no good. If it has eyes, it cannot see you. If it has a nose, it can't smell anything. It can't speak. Those lips cannot part. Okay? But the God, the creator of this universe, he has everything you have. And he, unlike us, does not need to sleep. Okay? 36. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice. Out of heaven he made thee to hear his voice, that he might instruct thee. And upon earth he showed thee his great fire, and that thou hearest his words out of the midst of the fire. 36. From heaven he made you hear his voice to discipline you. On earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words from out of the fire. Yes. Why did he want us to hear his voice? So that we may fear him. That's why. And be obedient to him. Reverend him. Worship him. Praise him. Glorify him. Honor him. Those are all the reasons why he allowed the people to hear his voice. And like I said to you yesterday, it is the voice of a man. 37 and 38, I will read back to back because they're agreeing for love. And because he loved thy fathers, therefore he chose their seed after them, and brought thee out in his sight with his mighty power out of Egypt. 38. To drive out nations from before thee, greater and mightier than thou art, to bring thee in, to give thee their land for inheritance as it is this day. 37. Because he loved your forefathers and chose their descendants after them, he brought you out of Egypt by his presence and his great strength. 38. To drive out before you nations greater and stronger than you, and to bring you into their land, to give it to you for your inheritance as it is today. That's why it was so evil. Whenever anybody met Columbus, that was an evil man. Though he was treated with great hospitality, he became a curse to the Indians. And you can drive through Virginia today, and you'd be far-fetched to see an Indian. If you must see an Indian, you must go to a preservation site, a small portion of the land given unto them by God, that my white brother, yes, I said it, my white brother stole from them. Till this day, they have not been recompensed for that. Till this day, not only have my white brothers been thieves, they have also destroyed many black families, farmers, blackballing them, not allowing them to sell their product. And the land that they stole from them, it was given to them by God. 39 is purple again for the Trinity. Know therefore this day, and consider it in thy heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else. None else. It don't matter what anybody tells you. There's only one God. He has one Son, and his name is Jesus Christ. He is our Savior, our Redeemer. He died for all of us, those of us here, those that before us, and those that will come after us. It covers them as well. There's not a man, a pastor, Martin Luther King, or any of them that can measure up to Jesus. None. But yet, the land faithfully every year honor his birthday as if he was Jesus Christ himself. And make God's birthday a joke. Santa Claus time. There is no man greater than Jesus Christ. I don't care whether his name is Martin Luther King or anybody else. Greater than my Lord. 39. Acknowledge and take to heart this day that the Lord is God in heaven above and on earth below. There is no other. Did you hear me? There is no other. Let me repeat it. There is no other. 40 is that split verse I spoke to you about yesterday. It's part red for discipleship and part gold for prophecy. Red comes first. And it says, thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day. This is Moses speaking. Okay? And though Moses does not stand before us today, he is still speaking to us when we read these words. Okay? That is the red part. I will read it again. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments, which I command thee this day. The gold part says, that it may go well with thee, and with thy children after thee, and that thou mayest prolong thy days upon earth, which the Lord thy God giveth thee forever. How do you prolong your days here on earth? Let's go back here. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments. That's how you lengthen your days here on earth. You must please God. Let's take it here. 40. Keep his decrees and commands, which I am giving you today, so that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may live long in the land the Lord your God gave you for all times. All times, America. Every generation. That's what all times mean. Every generation. All right? Cities of refuge. Starting with 41, which is purple here. Actually, it's kind of purplish blue. This one verse here, one word. Then Moses served 3 cities on this side of Jordan towards the sun rising. All right, let's take the 41 from here. Then Moses set aside 3 cities east of the Jordan. These are cities for those who have done something wrong, who are innocent in their doing, and they could go to these cities and hide and be safe from persecution. Okay? 42 to 43 is blue for salvation. That the slayer might flee thither, which shall kill his neighbor unaware, and hated him not in times past, and that fleeing unto one of these cities he might live. So he killed his neighbor unintentionally. Okay? Unaware means unintentionally. He did not hate the man when he killed him. It was an accident. Okay? Sometimes bad things happen in the midst of an accident. But if you go to the judges today, those judges that judge unrighteously, that man will serve time for something that he did not intend on doing. Okay, 42. I will read 41 first. Then Moses set aside 3 cities east of the Jordan, 42, to which anyone who has killed a person could flee if he had unintentionally killed his neighbor without malice or forethought. Let me read that again. Then Moses set aside 3 cities east of the Jordan, 42, to which anyone who had killed a person could flee if he had unintentionally killed his neighbor without malice or forethought. But instead, what do these corrupt judges do? What do? They send this man to prison for life, and the ones who have done evil, they let them live forever and allow us, the righteous citizens of the country, to take care of them. It is better that we take that money that we use to take care of someone on life or on death row and use it to take care of our poor people upon the land. That is more righteous and logical. All right? I'll repeat 41 and 42 again. Then Moses set aside 3 cities east of the Jordan, 42, to which anyone who had killed a person could flee if he had unintentionally killed his neighbor without malice aforehand. He could flee unto one of these cities and save his life. 43. Now Bezar in the wilderness, in the plain country, or the Reubenites and the Ramah and Gilead of the Gadites and Golan and Bashan of the Manassites. 43. The cities were these: Bezar in the desert plain for the Reubenites, Ramah and Gilead for the Gadites, and Golan and Bashan for the Manassites. So depending on who you were, determine what city you will run to. And that's what this today. Today. We should have cities that an innocent person can run to today. Okay? 45. And this is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. 44 here. Instruction to the law. And this is the law Moses set before the Israelites. 45. These are the testimonies and the statutes and the judgments which Moses spake unto the children of Israel after they came forth out of Egypt. 45 here. These are the stipulations, decrees, and laws Moses gave them when they came out of Egypt. 46. On this side Jordan, in the valley over against Beth Peor, in the land of Shinhan, king of the Amorites, who dwelled at Heshbon, whom Moses and the children of Israel smote after they came forth out of Egypt. 46. And where in the valley near Beth Peor, east of the Jordan, and in the land of Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon, and was defeated by Moses and the Israelites as they came out of Egypt. 47. And they possessed his land, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. Remember King Og? 2 kings of the Amorites, which were on this side of Jordan towards the sun rising. 47. They took possession of his land and the land of Og, king of Bashan. That's the one that King Saul failed to kill. That had to be killed by Samuel. Remember him? Okay. The 2 Amorites kings east of the Jordan. 48. And Aroer, which is by the bank of the rivers Arnon, which unto Mount Sion, which is Hermon. 48. This land extended from Aurora on the rim of the Arnon Gor to Mount Sion, that is Hermon. That is Hermon. Sion is Hermon. 49. And on the plains on this side of Jordan, eastward, even unto the sea of the plains, under the spring of Pisgah. 49. And included all the Arabas east of the Jordan, as far as the sea of the Arabah, below the slopes of Pisgah. Okay, so it was a large territory designated for those that needed to run. Okay. That is all 49 verses of Deuteronomy 4. Thank you very much for listening to us here at Spiritual Water. And as always, it's a pleasure to share the gospel of my Lord Jesus Christ with thee. I always hope that by using the parallel Bible, it makes it a lot easier for you to understand and comprehend that which is read from the old biblical words. And as always, may the peace of God be upon thee. May the protection of God surround you. May the will of God come from thee. Until the next time, please enjoy this beautiful day. And see you again tomorrow if I live and nothing happens to me.